Alright team, welcome back. Let us go and look into the next concepts. So over here in our today's concepts, we are going to look into what is compatibility testing, configuration testing, what is test data, what is positive testing, negative testing, what is retesting, regression testing, what is alpha testing and beta testing, what is parallel testing, recovery testing, static and dynamic testing, exploratory testing, mutation testing and defect seeding. And then we'll also look into what is use case document, what is software test lifecycle, bug lifecycle and defects reporting. Alright team, now let us go and see what is compatibility testing. So performing testing on the application on different browsers is called compatibility testing. So over here we are going to test the application on different browsers. That is something called as compatibility testing. So we will be testing on different browsers, say Internet Explorer browser, Chrome browser, Opera browser, Safari browser, or let us go with a mobile application. Say I would like to go and test the application in the mobile. So I will be working on different devices or the simulators like BlackBerry, Windows, Android. Okay, so I will be testing on different browsers. That is something called as compatibility. So different browsers in the sense over here I will go with Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, Opera, Safari and all this. Okay, that is something called as compatibility testing. So invoking the application in Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, Opera, Safari is called compatibility testing. Then coming to configuration testing, performing testing on the application on product in different configurations of the system. Say if you go and take for example RAM, hard disk, processors or operating systems. Say I am going to test the application on Windows operating system, I will be testing the application on Mac operating system, I will be also testing the application on Linux operating system or Unix operating system. So I will like to go and test this application on different configurations. Okay, this is something called as configuration testing. Then coming to test data team, a data or a value which we are using to perform testing on the application is called test data. Yes, so a data or a value, say if there is any data or a value, a data is nothing but an input data. The value which I am going to input into the application is called input data. So I am going to input a data into the application, that is something called as test data. In some projects separate team is creating the test data for all the teams. Okay, so basically in some projects what we are going to do, we will be having separate team who is going to create the test data for all the teams. So a test data is nothing but some value, a value which we are going to put in the application. Say for example in the Gmail edit box I will be entering the username is nothing but my value. Okay, and password is nothing but my value. So this is something called as a data. Okay team, fine. Now let us go and see the next concept, that is positive and negative testing. What is positive testing? Performing testing on the application with positive test data. Yes, so here we are going to enter valid credentials, that is something called as positive test data. Negative testing is performing testing on the application with negative test data. Okay, is called negative testing. So we are going to enter the values and test the application with invalid credentials, that is something called as negative testing. Then team regression testing and retesting. What is regression testing? What is retesting? So retesting is performing testing on fixed defect is called retesting. So we are going to perform testing on the fixed defect. Say there is a defect and it has been raised by us. I have assigned, say you have identified a defect. Now what you are going to do team? Are you going to say, hey, I found a defect and I am going to put it with me, I am not going to share it with you? No, you have to go and share it with the development team, right? Only then the development team will go and fix the defect. So say I have found a defect and I shared it with the development team saying this is a defect. Now the development team will go and fix the defect. Say the defect has been fixed, defect is fixed. Now what happens, this development team will go and come back to us again saying, yeah, this defect is fixed, now go ahead and test it. So we are going to test the fixed defect, that is called retesting. I will go and test whether the defect is fixed or not. Okay, then what is regression testing? Testing conducting on modified application is called regression testing. What do you mean by modified application? Say for example, the defect has been raised in retesting, right? In retesting, a defect is raised and development team has made some changes, and we have tested it, we have retested it, and it was working fine. That particular functionality is working fine, that is okay. But in order to fix that defect, developer might have changed some of the source code over there, which may be impacting or not impacting on some of the features. Okay, so we have to go and test the entire functionality. Okay, we have to go and test the entire application or the modified application. We have to go and test the entire application once again. That is something called as regression testing. So basically a regression testing will be done only once all the defects are being closed. Okay, once the code check-in is hold, okay, code check-in is once the code check-in date is fixed, and then once the code check-in date is done, like there is no way that a development team can go ahead and push the code into the QA server. So from there we will go and test it. Okay, so we will be executing after identifying the defect, after we go and check all the defects have been fixed or not, we will go and perform one run of regression test suite. Okay, we will be executing the regression test case. We will be having regression test cases in real time scenarios team, and we will be executing all those regression test cases at least for one run before we go ahead and release the application to the client. Then coming to alpha testing and beta testing. What is alpha testing? Performing testing on the application by the client directly is called alpha testing. So we are going to test the application by the client directly in client environment. Okay, we are going to test the application in the client environment. That is something called as alpha testing. Coming to beta testing, performing testing on the application by the client like people is called beta testing. So alpha testing is suitable for, here the client is going to test this application directly, right team? So alpha testing is suitable for what? Is it suggestible for project or product? Yes, it is suggestible for project. Alpha testing is suggestible for project, and beta testing is suggestible for product. Okay, performing testing on the application by client like people. Fine. Then let us go and see what is parallel testing. Performing testing on the application by comparing similar type of the application. So I am going to compare similar type of applications over their team. Okay, and I am going to test it. This is something called as parallel testing. Say I am going to compare one application with another application, and I am going to look into it. Okay, I am going to look at the functionality of the application. That is something called as parallel testing. So the example is RAD model, rapid application development model. Okay, what is rapid application development model? Here we will be working with the source code, existing source code, right? So there we can go ahead and test the application parallelly. Fine thing. Then we do have recovery testing. What is recovery testing? Verifying the time application is taking to come back from the abnormal state to the normal state. Yes, over here we are going to test the application. We are going to see whether the application is in abnormal state or normal state. Okay, so say for example there is a load in the application and the application is going to be hanged, and then after few minutes or few seconds it will be coming to the normal state. So I'll like to go and verify the time when the application is going to the abnormal state and when it is coming to the normal state again. Fine. Then we do have different concept, that is static and dynamic testing. What is static testing? What is dynamic testing? Static testing is performing testing on the application without performing any activity or action on it. Yes, over here in static testing we are not going to perform any activity or action on the application. So we will be testing the application, okay, through the UI, saying the color of the button, or else like looking into the font size or looking into the font alignments. Okay, this is something called as a static testing. So we are not going to perform any action on this application. That means, say for example, if I am going to select a checkbox, if I going to check a checkbox, it is going to display some drop downs over there. or some other list box over there. If I go and uncheck, it is going to remove that. It is going to remove that display of the drop down as well. So such type of applications will be there too. Okay, so that is something called a static testing. Then coming to dynamic testing, performing testing on the application by performing specific activity or action on it. Yes, so here I am going to perform some activity or action on the application. Okay, that is something called as dynamic testing. Okay, so here I am going to perform some activity. I will go and perform some activity over there. That means I am going to click on a button, or I am going to click on a link over there, and it will take me to some other page. So that is something called as dynamic testing. Fine thing. Then we do have exploratory testing, performing testing on the application by learning domain knowledge is called exploratory testing. So over here we will be testing the application with the help of domain knowledge. With the help of domain knowledge in the sense, say I am working in a banking domain and I was moved into medical domain projects. Now I don't know about medical domain projects since it was my first time. Now what I will do, I will have to go and know what is the domain knowledge. Okay, I have to go and know what are the functionalities, what is the terminologies that they are going to use over there and what is the meaning of that such so and so terminologies over there in that particular domain. I should know it, so I will be exploring on it. Or else exploratory testing is also termed as, say you are the new joiner to the project and you have to go and test the project. So initially you will be performing exploratory testing, that is gaining knowledge on the functionalities of the application is called exploratory testing. Clear team? Gaining knowledge on the functionalities of the application, okay, is called exploratory testing. Fine. Then we do have mutation testing and defect seeding. What is mutation testing? After development has changed the source code intentionally. Yes, once the development team has changed the source code intentionally, they are going to test the application. They will ask the QA people to go and test the application. That is something called as mutation testing. That is, the development team will go and change the source code intentionally. And do remember team, mutation testing is not preferable in the real-time scenarios. We are not going to entertain such type of things for the development people. We will not be doing mutation testing in real-time scenarios. Okay, this is just for your knowledge. Alright, then defect seeding. Defect seeding is performing testing on the application after the development team has injected the existing defect. Yes, so here development team is going to inject the existing defect and he just want to go and check on what all the features or what all the pages this defect is going to be impacting. So he just want to go ahead and check it. Okay, so that is something called as defect seeding. So performing testing on the application after the development team has injected the existing defect, and even this defect seeding is not entertained in the real-time scenarios team. Clear?